Hi there, Miranda Alt here with Keller Williams Success Real Estate and the Miranda Alt team with your Monday market update for Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Thanks so much for watching. We are already into June. We're already almost halfway through the 2024 year. So far, a lot of what we anticipated for this year has not materialized. So let's take a quick look at our numbers for the last 7 days and talk a little bit about what's happening in our market in McHenry County. In the last 7 days, we've had 175 new listings. That's a lot more than we've had in the past few weeks. So that is a great thing that's happening. We only had 126 go under contract. Now, it's early in the Monday, so sometimes those numbers take a little bit to be updated from over the weekend sales. I know we have one that we put under contract this weekend that is not yet marked contingent. So that might be a little low for what actually happened over the weekend. But as of right now, that's a huge discrepancy between number of newly listed homes and those that went under contract in a positive direction, meaning we got some more homes to go look at and a little more, a few more homes on the market. We had 129 closed sales. We had 33 price changes, 53 currently on the private network. And get this, 8 expired. That's a lot. That is a lot more than, I don't think I've seen that number over 5 in a very long time. So that's kind of an interesting, I'm not sure what's happening there. But I looked at some of the headlines this morning because that's one of the things I do on Mondays is when I'm trying to do my research for what's happening locally. I do look at what is kind of the news saying about the real estate world, because they don't always get it right. We know that. And a lot of the things that I saw on CNBC or on LinkedIn, a lot of those things are talking about weekly mortgage demand drops to 3-month low as rates begin climbing again. I know we are seeing lower transactions this year than we had anticipated. There are less people moving, less people buying homes, less homes for sale. However, there are still a very high demand on those that hit the market. So everything is lower, right? So in 2021, we sold 6.3 million homes nationwide. In 2022, we sold 5.1. In 2023, we sold 4.1. And we anticipate 2024 is going to be about the same. So that is a huge decrease in the number of homes that are transacting nationwide. We are seeing that here as well. In McHenry County, we are seeing less homes sold in 2024 and 2023 than we did in 2022 and 2021. Now, keep in mind, 2021 and 2022 were 2 of the best years that we had for real estate, historically speaking. What the rates that we're at right about now are some of the rates that we were seeing at the low of the low in 2012, 2013 when we were in the middle of the Great Recession. So you have to kind of keep some of that in perspective, that yes, home sales are down. However, that doesn't mean that nobody's moving. It doesn't mean that homes aren't for sale. It doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that the whole world is collapsing like it did in 2012. What we're seeing is that, yes, there are a lot of people who are in their homes and they don't want to give up their 2% interest rate or their 3% interest rate. We know that there are a lot of homeowners over there, over 50%, who currently are locked in at 5% or below. So do they really want to move for a 7.5% interest rate? No, but some of them have to. I talked to a homeowner this weekend while we were out knocking on doors for our open house. We talked to a homeowner that would love it if her daughter would move to Crystal Lake and come out and be near her. She is living in Evanston, and her home is very, very small, but she has a 2% interest rate. She's having more kids, and she's saying, I'm staying put. I'm not moving. I have this great interest rate, and I don't want to move. I don't care if my home is way too small for us. And my thought is, for how long is that going to be okay? For how long are you going to tolerate that? Because I know other people who are just like, no, we've been tolerating this for 4 years. We should have moved 5 years ago and we didn't. And we just can't do it anymore. So I think that as the year goes on, we're seeing more and more people just going, just forget it. We need to move. At the beginning of the year, I said, I think this is going to be the year that people are like, just rip off the Band-Aid, just make it happen. And we've been waiting too long, and it's clearly not going to get any better. I talked to a homeowner who we closed on his first home last week, and I was asking him, why now? And he said, well, because I've been waiting. My mom told me not to buy in 2021 because prices were crazy. She told me not to buy in 2022 because prices were crazy and wait for prices to come down. And what have prices done? They've done nothing but go up. And now the interest rates have gone up as well. And so a lot of these people who have been sitting on the sidelines in 2021 and 2022 thinking prices were crazy. And I remember telling people, prices are not crazy. They just have simply recovered very rapidly. But it was a shock to the system, right? It was a shock that prices went up so fast. People thought, oh, surely this is going to happen. We're going to have a crash. Because when things go up, they must come down. And I was saying, no, this is not the same. I don't think this is going to be the same. And yet people continued to hold on to that belief that prices were going to come down. And sure enough, they have not come down. In fact, they've continued to go up. In fact, I was looking this morning at our average sales price this last week is up to the highest I've ever seen it now this is for the MRED, this is for the Midwest Region's data system. $430,000 was the current year average sales price. This week, last year, it was $404,000. So it's up almost $30,000, about $26,000. So that is the average that has gone up. The median sales price is also up, both last year and this year. This was the week that it sort of went to a new high. It sort of made a big jump, probably because right now we have a lot of people who are trying to get homes under contract and move before the school year starts. So we're kind of in the crunch time right now, where anybody who wants to be in their new home before school starts, boy, they've got to put the pedal to the metal. They've got to really get something going right now in order to be in and settled before school starts. Even though summer break just started, if you think about it, getting a home starting to look for a home, getting your home listed if that's your situation, and then getting into the new home, that sort of takes time. Our average sales cycle is about 30 to 60 days. So if you need, you got to get your house on the market, then you got to find your house, and then you got to move. It takes time. Another factor that we're seeing right now affecting home sales is we're seeing some of those larger homes going under contract to multi-generational families. We are seeing kids moving in with their children and grandma and grandpa right now. They're getting these big homes. Everybody's got their space, but together they can afford more than each of them individually. So whereas maybe 5 years ago, that was not anything that anybody would even consider, this is now something that we're seeing more and more people doing. They're moving back in with their parents, buying a new home that's big enough for everybody to live together. We have not seen that as a trend. I never saw it. I was talking to my lender this morning. He said he's never seen it like this before. And now he's doing more and more loans with multi-generational borrowers on the contract. So I know I've done 2 of those so far this year, and before I had not done that at all. So we're seeing different strategies and different lifestyle choices coming into play with the higher interest rates. And again, they're historically average. Don't be fooled. Every time I talk about interest rates with people, they'll say, oh my gosh, interest rates are so high. Who's moving in this condition? Well, they're historically average. Remember, 8% is historical average. And you can always talk to people who bought their home in the 80s and talk to somebody who had a 17%. I talked to somebody this weekend who said their first home, they bought at 21% interest rate. That's worse than a credit card. So, loans are higher than they were, but we're sort of getting into this place where the shock has worn off of we're never going to see 4% interest rates again. It's never going to happen. We might not see 5%, certainly not anytime soon. 6% even is pretty lofty at the moment. We're not going to see that, certainly not this year, maybe 2025. But in order for that to happen, we would need to see inflation just hit the ground. I mean, and right now we're just not seeing inflation coming down as rapidly. If you look at some of the economic data, we have been hearing that mortgage bonds were higher to the start of the week last week. Bonds are rallying in response to some weaker manufacturing data. We've got some jobs data coming in that is showing unemployment rate expected to remain at 3.9%. So if we still have unemployment low, and we have the economy doing well, we are not going to see rate cuts at all this year. We also might not see any rate increases though. So if interest rates just kind of stay flat for this whole year, that's actually going to be okay. More and more buyers and sellers are coming to terms with the fact that this is the new normal. This is what you can expect. We are not going to expect a 2% interest rate. Never again. And if it is, then we're back to a worldwide pandemic. And I don't know about you, but I have no interest in reliving 2020. So I'm okay with the fact that I might have to pay more for my house payment or for my car loan, as long as we never have to relive COVID, because I don't ever want to do that again. And I don't think you do either. So that was the only reason why interest rates were where they're at. So let's keep that in mind. We've got some other manufacturing data coming in this week. We've also got some information from the home builders. National Association of Home Builders will be coming out with some expectations of what they anticipate the end of the year is going to look like. You know, at the beginning of this year, and the end of last year, we were talking about how 2024 would be off to a slow start for the first quarter. Second quarter would be a little bit better, and we expected a really strong third and fourth quarter. And boy, oh boy, it really is looking like that's the way it could be. I'm thinking that we're going to see more and more homes hitting the market as the year goes on, and that we will actually see a surge in the fall. So if you're thinking about buying or selling this year, you have not missed the boat. Make sure that you give me a call. We can talk about what the options are and what we anticipate is going to happen as the year continues on. But it's looking like it's going to be a good year for real estate. Not as good as 21 and 22, obviously, but we'll still have a strong year. We should finish strong, maybe even stronger than 2023. But I think most of that is people getting used to the reality that interest rates are higher and they're going to remain higher, and the reality that prices are doing nothing but going up. They are not coming down, so get used to it. I'm Miranda Alt with Keller Williams Success Real Estate and the Miranda Alt team. I hope you had a great weekend. Have a great rest of your work week. We'll see you again next week. Have a good day. Bye.